What's going on YouTube? WestHobbiesRC. So today we are back with the SAB Mini Genesis setup on Vcontorl. So we have a brand new Vcontorl EVO here, SAB Mini Genesis with a Vbar EVO. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is bind. So turn your Vcontorl on. We're gonna set that aside, grab your model. We're gonna slide our battery in from the back on this guy. So get that slid into place and power it all the way up. Now that that's powered on, come back to your Vcontorl, hit the little link button. It's gonna come up here. And once it finds it, there it is. We're gonna click that and now it will bind. So now, first thing it's gonna say is unplug motor cables to prevent spooling. Now we just have the blades off of it. So we're gonna go to other helicopters and we're gonna go to other 500 since this is a 420 millimeter blade. The motor will beep for a minute, but that will go away. There it goes. Okay, so now everything should be working. So now what we are gonna do is we're gonna go and name the model. I'm just gonna do mini, hit enter. Now we're gonna put the orientation. So now we are running face up wires rear, clockwise rotation. We're gonna be running a 1520 333 since we have the theta servos, go down. Our swash plate is HR3 120 reverse. So that is the back of the helicopter, the front of the helicopter. So now what we need to do is come down here to where it says reverse, reverse, reverse. So what we want to check now is looking at our helicopter. So now looking at our helicopter, we want to give it cyclic and we want to see how everything is working. So it is working all backwards. So what we need to do is click reverse. That is working like it should. Okay, so we have back, forward, left, right, back, forward, left, right, positive pitch, negative pitch. So all we had to do was reverse, take the check mark away from 1 and the check mark away from 2. So now you just have to reverse servo 2 or channel 2. Now it is good. So now we are gonna back out. That is done. Everything is working like it should. Okay, so now we are gonna come down to trim values, push and hold. That is going to lock all 3 of our servos at what should be 90 degrees. So now we are going to adjust the trim for 1, 2, and 3 right here until our servos are perfectly 90 degrees. After we adjust that, then we would come back in with our swash plate leveler and adjust the swash plate and then work our way to the blade grips. You're gonna wanna come back with your servo guide. And we are gonna start on first servo. You can start with servo 1 if you want to. Servo 1's the easiest, so we're gonna click the trim. So you click it 1 time, and then you go up or down, and we're gonna look at this back servo, and we want that back servo to be 90 degrees. So we can see here that it needs to come up. That looks perfect right there. We want it to be dead in line with these 2 screws. Number 1 is done. Now we're gonna move on to number 2, which is this front servo. So we're gonna click number 2. And we're gonna use our guide that comes with it when we built it. And we're gonna look down that guide and we're gonna eyeball it to where this servo is in line with this guide. So what I'm talking about is looking down that line until that servo is in line with that guide. So we are gonna come down, come down, come down, and that looks about perfect right there. And then we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So now that that is done, we can take this, put it back with our part so we don't lose it. You may need it in the future. So now we are going to get out of the trim. We're gonna stay in the trim mode, but we don't want any of these checked. When you're in this trim mode, that is 0 degrees, everything is centered. So this is when you're gonna come back with your swash plate leveler and you want these 3 points to touch the bottom of the swash plate where there is 3 screws, 1, 2, and 3 on the other side. So we're gonna take our leveler, it is magnetic, you're gonna drop it right into place, and we are gonna twist it. Automatically, we can see right there that our swash plate is too low, and we can also tell by our arms. So now we are gonna pop each of these links off and move the swash up or adjust it until all three of those points touch. So now that that is done, you can see our swash plate leveler fits perfectly, touches all three screws. So that means that our swash plate is perfectly level. So we are done with the swash plate leveler. We can pop it out, put it aside for if you need it again. So now we know servos are centered 90 degrees, swash plate is perfectly level all the way around. Now we are going to work on our blade grips. So if I have these little 3D printed guys, if you don't have them, you can use a blade. You also see on the top that there is hash marks. I don't 100% go by those. I'd rather have a digital pitch gauge. So we're going to slide our fake blade in. We're going to come back with the screw on top. We're going to tighten our main blade grip bolt down. And I want the head to be in line with the tail boom. We're going to come back with our pitch gauge. I like to put it on something that's level on the helicopter, so I use the motor can. So we're going to turn that pitch gauge on, zero it out. Okay, so now we are zeroed out. We are going to take our pitch gauge, put it onto our fake blade, and we're going to look at what it says. So now our pitch gauge is showing that we are 0.9 degrees positive. So we need to adjust this linkage down a half a turn until we see 0.00. Now we got that pretty zeroed all the way out. 0.1 negative or positive is okay. It's really hard to get zero all the way across. That is done. Now we're gonna take our pitch gauge and fake blade off, rotate the head 180 degrees, and do the exact same on the other blade grip. So now we got zeroed out on the other blade grip. So now our servos are centered, swash plate is level, we have zero at mid stick. So our head is completely set up mechanically now. So now what we are going to do is we are going to look at this pitch gauge and we are going to set our positive and negative pitch. So we are no longer needing the servo trim menu. So we're going to back out of that. We are going to go up to where it says collective, min, and maximum. So you'll see if you go down on your pitch stick, your collective stick, it's negative. If you go up, it's positive. So we're going to adjust positive first, then negative. It doesn't matter which way you do it. Now we're going to go up or down on our little squirrel wheel, and we are going to look and see how much pitch we have. 14 degrees, way too much. So we are going to drop that down to about 13 degrees. Again, this is actually, we're going to go to 12.5. This is not a 3D machine, 12.6. So now that that is done, we are going to come back, tap this guy, and then we're going to go down on our stick to negative and do the same exact thing and adjust it to 12.5. So now we have 12.4 degrees negative, 12.4 degrees positive. So now our positive and negative is set up. So now what we're going to do is we're going to come down where it says stick calibrate or cyclic calibrate, click that, and we want to adjust it to 8 degrees. So we're going to click on this up or down just like everything else. We are going to look at our pitch gauge. We are at 8.5, so we are going to go down just a little bit until we are exactly at 8 degrees, and that part of the setup is complete. Little more. Perfect, 8 degrees. So now we are done with that. Check out of that, uncheck the box. Now we are going to move up to our tail rotor. So tail rotor, we need to select what servo it is. So we are running a 760, 333, or 500. I believe this one is 500. So now we can go to there. You would reverse it. So if you go right on your stick, you need to look at your tail. So right stick is correct, left stick is correct. So that part of it is done. We don't need to reverse that. Now we need to come down here and set our limits. Just like we did with collective, we are going to hold one way, go up, hold the other way, go up. Before we adjust our left and right, we need to look at that tail servo and make sure it's as close to 90 degrees as possible. Now I could go in with the Theta program box if these are programmable, which I don't think they are, but I'm going to leave that right there. It's close to 90 degrees. And we need to look and adjust mechanically. Look how much right we have, way too much. So we need to pop our bottom linkage off right here and turn it out until we have only about 3 to 4 degrees of right tail. So now we adjusted our push rod. We have about 4 degrees. So now that our tail is mechanically set up, now we can open our tail blades back out so they don't smack the boom or into each other. And now we are going to take our radio and we're going to hold full right, we're going to adjust it until we're just about to bottom out. So we're gonna go about right there. Perfect, so we are full right. Now we're gonna do the same thing. We need to hold it to where we can see it. We're going to come down to left, hold that. We are going to add it just before it starts to bottom out, about right there. That is done. So now we have right, left, nothing is binding. Now our tail is set up. Now that we're done with tail, we're gonna go down to where it says governor type. We are gonna run the Hobbywing Vbar, so we're gonna leave it as Hobbywing Vbar. If you would select that and change it to Hobbywing internal, not the Vbar governor. Now, output setup, you can program your for high and low throttle. Personally, I don't have any issues. Now we're gonna go to gear setup. So we're gonna select that, non-Mikado. We're gonna do a 20 tooth because this is a stock gearing, 20 tooth. We're gonna come down to ratio, and the ratio is going to be 6.01. And then our pole count on this motor is going to be 5 pole pairs, 10 poles, and max is 4,800 RPM. That is done. Now we can exit out of here. That is all complete. Now I want to go, and if you touch the Hobbywing one time, it's going to give us our status. I want to push and hold. We are in Vbar governor mode. So now I want to go into where it says the direction, push that. I need to reverse it, hit yes, check and make sure by spooling your motor up and on. I just did. And we're gonna go to expert. This will give you flywing, all your governors for the Hobbywing governor. We're not using that. BEC voltage, we're going to click on that guy, and we're gonna up these to 8 volts. And then cutoff, 3.0 soft, perfect. Temperature, we don't need none of that. We're gonna restart the ESC. You'll hear it beep and come to life. Okay, now we're gonna, since this model is going to be set up with rescue, so we are going to push and hold this guy, and we're gonna do a toggle switch, trigger switch. Trigger switch is going to be buddy. That is buddy.
Rescue start, rescue end.
Okay, and then we want rescue to be beginner and rescue mode.
Rescue start, rescue end.
That way it's in beginner mode and it's basically auto leveled. Then we have full 3D mode, and then we have rescue mode.
Rescue end.
And now the collective at rescue is how much it's going to give it. And then beginner limit is how low it'll angle the helicopter side to side. Lower numbers means less angle. Higher numbers mean more angle. If you're not using auto level, anything like that, you don't need to worry about it. And it's just as simple as that. Now, what else we need to do is we're going to scroll up here, and this is going to be per our banks. Okay, so I have bank switch set up to this left one, rescue on this one, and then motor off on this switch here. So now we need to set our RPM. So we're going to set 1800 on bank 1. We're going to come down here, and we are going to set 2400 on bank 2, and we're going to set 2900 on bank 3. And then you would adjust your agility gain and everything to your style. And the last thing we need to do before we put the blades on and go fly is we need to check our gyro direction. So I like to go to mid stick. Take the helicopter, we tilt it forward, the back of the swash should go down. We tilt it backwards, should go forward. So the helicopter going forward, the swash plate should go backwards. Helicopter going backwards, swash plate goes forward. Tilt it left, it should go right. You tilt it right, and it should go left. And then same with the tail. So now if we take our tail and we push it nose to the right, or nose to the left, we should have right tail, which it does. And if we go nose to the right, we should have left tail. So all of that is correct. Gyro direction is all correct. So now we can throw our blades on it and go fly. Throw your blades back on, your canopy on, and you are ready to fly. So I hope that has helped some of you guys answer your question. Mikado, the Vcontorl Vbar is such a great ecosystem. It's super simple to do, not even 10 minutes from start to finish. And you can set up almost any helicopter. Great system, really enjoy it. So there you guys go. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for the maiden flight. Take care and have a great day.